I'm Jarrod Fry, General Manager of Medina TV, and I want to welcome you to our Candidates Forums. We partner with the Greater Medina Chamber of Commerce to bring you these Candidates Forums to give you the most information possible to make you the most informed voter as you head to the polls this November. All candidates were offered invitations to take part in the races that we're going to televise here on Medina TV. So the candidates you see are the ones that responded to those invitations. We hope you sit back and enjoy our Candidates Forums and look forward to seeing you at the polls this November. Hello, and joining us in studio now is Bill Osman, the incumbent for Medina Township Trustee. Bill, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
And why don't you first start off a little bit and just inform the viewers and just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I've been a Medina Township Trustee now for 15 years. I started out in Medina Township, in the Medina Township thing with I was on the Board of Zoning Appeals, and I left that as chairman. I am currently the chairman of the Board of Medina Township Trustees. I've been married to my wife, Kim, for 37 years. I moved into Medina Township in 1982. I'm the owner of a family business, Pleasant Valley Golf Course, which has been operating in Medina Township since 1970. I have two children. Actually, they're not children anymore, but it's Kristen, who is 31, and my son, Werner, who is 24. Other than that, that's just about it.
Yeah, no matter how old they get, they're still children.
They're still
no matter
children,
what. Exactly,
right, exactly. Yeah.
Well, and as being the incumbent, you'll be the perfect person for the next question. Kind of explain a little bit about the role of a trustee. Well,
the Board of Trustees, there's 3 trustees. We take the place, basically, of City Council and the Mayor, and we make decisions as far as budgeting, what's done with our police, fire protection, zoning issues. That all comes before the board, and it's in my opinion, it's grassroots government. It's much closer to the people than any other form of government.
Sure. And then, what type of specific skills or expertise do you feel you bring to the position?
Well, I really like living in Medina Township. I think it's a wonderful place to live. I've got business experience with, I meet payrolls, I meet deadlines, and I think that's necessary to run Medina Township. I also have a relatively good working relationship with all the people who work in the township, especially in the office. Other than that, it's about it.
Now, that's a great question there. That in terms of the working relationship, because you said grassroots with only 3 trustees, a little bit smaller than you would deal with in a city council.
Right, correct.
How important is that working relationship when you only have 3 members that are voting on issues, the relationship between the trustees? Well,
I think it's very important. It's very important to have a relationship with all 3 trustees. I know our board has been contentious at times, and we've done a lot of 2-to-1 votes, but that's just the name of the game. With 3 trustees, sometimes it's a little difficult, and it's very easy to go 2-to-1 on a lot of things, but yeah.
That's part of the political process.
That's part of the political process,
exactly.
Correct, yes.
And in terms of that, there are some hot button issues that'll come up from time to time in any community.
Yes.
And one of the ones that have come up in Medina Township was the fire department.
Correct.
And the issues that went on there. I guess that works with a working relationship with the city of Medina and the trustees.
Right.
How do you feel about arrangements and situations that are like that?
Well, I think we now have a very good we've had a very good working relationship anyway with the city. LST, which is who runs our EMS, we've been contracting with them, with Montville Township and Medina City since 1976. That's worked very well. I think that the collaborative effort we are already, with the contract that we signed with the city, we're already getting more hours of coverage. We have stations that are manned, more hours than we were with our own department. I know it was a contentious issue. I know some of the firemen were not real pleased with it, but they've all been given preference to apply with the city, and as long as they meet the qualifications of the city, which are somewhat stricter than Medina Township had.
Now, how do you balance, as a trustee, whatever issue comes up, not necessarily the fire, but just anything in general, how do you weigh, financials versus public opinion versus any other things that might pop up, whether it's roads, fire, you pick the topic. How do you create that balance when making decisions on things? Well,
we really need to, we try to communicate with the public. I mean, we really need to watch our budget. The state has been cutting back on our local government funding. The estate tax has been eliminated, so we really need to watch our budgeting. Other than that, we need to watch our budget very closely because our income is actually going down somewhat.
Mm-hmm. And then and of course, with the bigger government stepping in at times, it creates a ebb and flow to what money you do or do not see in a given year.
Correct. Yeah, the state has cut way back on our local government funding. So,
what would you say would be your top priorities moving forward as Township Trustee?
Well, we want to maintain our rural atmosphere as much as possible. I know while going door to door recently, a lot of people want to maintain the rural atmosphere. Mm-hmm. And so we need to do that through smart growth. Right now, we're going in some large lot developments, which are very, very nice homes, and I think that's the way we're going now. Our higher density is built out, so.
Yeah, and that's something that's become a norm in not only the townships but also the city with build-out occurring.
Right.
What creative avenues are you guys looking at or would you look at to maybe keep the township thriving if you are built out?
Well, we've got a very good commercial base. Mm-hmm. We need to make sure that we encourage our businesses to stay that are there and to bring new businesses in. We do have some empty buildings, which I don't particularly care for, but we do aggressively try to get businesses in there to maintain our tax base.
And actually, it's a good point you bring up about the businesses because the township's kind of unique in that you kind of service two different corridors. Am I correct from a business aspect?
Route 18 and Route 42, yes.
Yeah, I don't know if just want to make sure in case some of the voters weren't aware of that you work both areas there. Mm-hmm. In terms of yourself, what do you feel makes you the most qualified, or what do you have that's different than the other candidates that are running for this office?
Well, I have 15 years of experiences on the Board of Trustees. I run my own business. I have been running it. We've been doing that since, like I said, it's been a family business since 1970. Mm-hmm. And I've had some experience on the Board of Appeals and zoning issues. So that's what I think. Just again, I've got 15 years of experience as a trustee.
Now, with a trustee in a township tending to be a little more spread out, like you said, more of that rural feel, how hard or how important, I guess both sides of that, is it to communicate and get information out to your constituents?
Well, it's very important to get information out. I know we used to do a newsletter, which was giving us, we got mixed reviews on that. We do have a website. Mm-hmm. Meetings are open to the public. They're on Thursday nights. I believe it's every other Thursday. Mm-hmm. So I mean, they're open to the public, and I'm accessible. My phone number is published on the website, so anybody can call me anytime they want. Like I said, we're close. We're probably the closest government to the people.
Sure, and definitely a good office here with a Township Trustees open, and again, Bill Osman here with us. And Bill, I wanted to give you the opportunity, if there's anything I forgot to bring up or anything you wanted to bring up to the viewers and the residents here, this is your opportunity to look in the camera and let them know what you'd like to hear.
Okay, well, I think that with the arrangement that we have with the city now, we are moving forward with a committee that was formed to form an actual joint fire district with Montville, Medina City, and our township. I'm very excited about that. I believe it will. I know it will save money, and it will avoid duplication of the supervision, duplication of equipment. Right now, we have access right now to, I believe it's 7 engines, 2 ladder trucks, and 2 rescue trucks, whereas when we were on our own, we had 3 engines, 1 rescue truck. That was it. So I think I'm very excited to work with the city to make this a reality.
Okay. Anything else you want to let the voters know?
No, that's really about it.
Perfect. That's Bill Ostman, one of the incumbent for Township Trustee. Best of luck to you this November, Bill, and thank you for joining us. And joining me in studio now is Mark Radice, one of the candidates for Medina Township Trustee. Mark, glad to have you here.
Nice to meet you.
I appreciate your time with us today. Let's start a little bit first. Just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I've been in Medina Township for 19 years. Worked for the same company, AT&T, for 28 years. 2 daughters and a son. All went to Medina High School. One's still there, 2 in college. Been a 2-time firefighter of the year for Medina Township, employee of Medina Township for over 15 years.
Oh, great, and thank you for your service with the Safety Department. For the viewers at home, could you kind of describe what the role is of a Medina Township trustee?
My feeling as a trustee is a warrant of the people. I mean, the people make the decisions, you help guide them through it. You know, you have meetings, you have scheduled meetings that they need to be made aware of. They need to be made aware of the topics that are going to be at that meeting. They need to be made aware of what happened at that meeting afterwards. Your job is to make the decisions, listen to the people, and take what's in their best interest and vote on it.
Now, what, Mark, skill set do you think you bring to the table to be a trustee?
I'm a project manager with AT&T, so I'm fairly organized. I've been an employee of the township for 15 years, a regular attendant to most of the meetings. So I'm pretty up to speed on what's going on. I think there'll be some continuity there. I've listened to a lot of the people in the last few years, and I think I know what they want, so I think I'll be a good representative for them.
And now, of course, most of the time it's smooth sailing, being a trustee and just handling issues here and there. Now, every once in a while, you're going to have something that pops up that's a major decision. And I know as Medina had recently, the Medina Township, with the recent fire department and their handling of the merger with the city of Medina. I guess as you look as an example like that, well, even first and foremost, how would you have handled a situation like that if you were a trustee? So
I was very vocal on that matter. Obviously, being a member of the fire department, I felt that there should always be a district. I said that in several meetings. And a matter of fact, when I leave here today, I'm attending a meeting as a representative of the township to help form that fire district. I just feel that the way it was handled was not in the best interest of the township. I think that keeping our fire department, or at least listening to the people at the meetings, several people were vocal on it and said they'd like to keep our fire department while those negotiations went on. I think that would have been a better way to handle it.
Now, that you brought up an interesting point there too, listening to the community, but then also there was a big financial side of it as well. How do you weigh the pros and cons of that community input, but also as a trustee handling their financial dollars?
So again, it's their money, right? I mean, I'm not big on taxing people, but they're already paying that levy. We actually lost a little bit of service with this merger. We lost weekend coverage. So you have to weigh both sides, and is it worth, you know, the savings for losing some coverage? They did add some other hours, so, you know, you have to take all things into consideration.
Sure. And then on the last side of that, when you have a topic like that, there are only 3 trustees that run the township. How does that working relationship play off? How do you work? And when sometimes there's going to come a time when all 3 of you aren't going to agree.
That's a great point. And as a matter of fact, right now, I think Medina Township's been in a position the last year or two where 2 trustees have not voted against each other on any matter that I'm aware of. So it's been 2 against 1. I'm going to argue with people, and you know, people that know me will tell you that, but I'm willing to do it in public. I'm willing for everybody to understand what we're arguing about, and we'll come to a decision based on what's best for all people. Some of the decisions that have been made did not consider the people in the audience at all. Like I said, we had a meeting at the road department where, I mean, there might have been 100 people in the room, and 80% of them probably were against that merger at the time. Our trustees did not listen, our 2 trustees that were on that voting path. So,
now, as you say that, if you're elected township trustee, what would be some of the top priorities for you if elected to office?
To get this fire district through would be, you know, huge. I think, like I said, I was in agreement for a fire district all along. It needs to be done. retaining businesses, being more business friendly. I know the Bill Doherty balloon thing blew up. There's just too many negative things that have come out in the news recently. The sale of the Remsen Road School. It's just, we're in the news for all the wrong reason. And we need to work together to solve those problems and get things done.
Sure. And then I guess along those same lines, what would make you the most qualified candidate for trustee? I guess kind of what sets you apart from the other candidates that are running?
Again, I mean, I've been a public servant for 15 years. Not that they haven't, but walking around and talking to people, they really are in line with the way I feel, that they need to know what's going on, and I'm willing to give that to them. No more secret meetings, no more, items discussed in executive session that don't need to be. Bringing things out in the open, maybe having the agenda posted at least a week, maybe 2 ahead of time, and following up with the recorded session so people can actually, if they can't make it to the meetings, because it's a small room, they can at least stay up to date on what's going on.
Sure, and I think too that's another good question. When you look at a township, it's a little more dispersed in terms of like your population, a little more spread out in some areas as compared to a city. What do you think are some of the advantages or disadvantages in terms of trying to reach your constituents?
I think it's just that it's spread out. People don't care about matters until it affects them. But you have to make it available to you. You have to make the information available to them. There's been times where the agendas don't go out until the day of a meeting, or they'll call a special meeting the day of or the day before. 24 hours in advance. Special meetings should be few and far between. We should let our people know what's going on and give them the chance to represent, or at least see what we're representing them for.
Sure, and have a voice in those meetings. I see what you're saying. Now, in terms of, I guess as we look at this, and I appreciate your time that you've taken with us here today, but this is an opportunity I want to give you, that in case there's something we haven't brought up today that you want to make sure you express to the voters. I want to turn it over to the camera and give you your opportunity to say what you'd like to the voters.
All right. I feel that my service in the past has taken me in this path to serve Medina Township in the best interest of everyone. I will promise that I will reduce the amount of executive sessions, put everything online like I said I have, so people are aware of what is going on in the township.
Perfect. And thank you very much for your time. Again, that's Mark Radice, one of the candidates for Medina Township Trustee. Best of luck to you this November.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Hello, and joining me in studio now is Jimmy Traynor, candidate for Medina Township Trustee. I'll get that out right. Jimmy, thank you for joining us here today.
You're welcome.
Why don't you first start off by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I've been a 16-year resident of Medina Township. I've been married to my wife, Regina, for 31 years. And after I usually tell people that, I always say, happy wife, happy life. We have a son, Christopher, who's grown. I also, about 5 years ago, retired from the Cleveland Police Department after spending 38 years as a law enforcement first responder. I also own the restaurant at the West Side Market, the historic West Side Market. I own the little cafe there. I'm on the Township Zoning Board, Medina Township Zoning Board, and instead of taking my salary, I donate my salary back to the township. It's my way of like giving back to the town where I live. I belong to Holy Martyrs Catholic Church. I'm a member there. I also am the vice president of the West Side Market Tenants Association at the West Side Market. I am also I volunteer as part of my hobbies, I volunteer at the Cleveland Police Museum. I'm a trustee of the museum, and I take care of the vintage fleet vehicles. And I've been a mechanic for years. There's a whole group of us that take care of the vintage cars from the police department, from the Cuyahoga County Sheriff's Office, and also the State Highway Patrol. And we go around the state at different museum-sponsored events and take the vehicles.
Well, that's a very unique, interesting thing there. And also thank you for your years of service in the police department. Could you explain a little bit about the role of a township trustee?
A township trustee is basically a combination of a councilman, and a mayor combined. There's 3 trustees, and they make the decisions for the township.
And then what do you feel is your skill set or expertise that you can bring to the role of township trustee?
Well, I'll tell you, I consider myself, my whole adult life, I've considered myself a compassionate watchdog. And being a first responder for the police department, I think that gives me an advantage of knowing how to handle safety, how government should respond to emergencies. I also feel that me being an owner of a business, a small business for 14 years, I have the skill sets to combine not only owning a business, because in a business I've had to manage a budget and pay and make payroll, and in the police department, like I said, my job was keeping people safe. So I think bringing both of those skill sets, I think that gives me the advantage of handling problems with the township.
Now, problems with the township, you kind of bring that up. If there are issues that come up, and there have been some issues, and we'll kind of delve into that. But first, how would you weigh, as if elected trustee, the balance between community need, financial need, and the well-being of the township?
Well, I think the 2 major concerns for the township right now are keeping taxes low and managing growth. You know, managing growth is very essential because we all moved out here for a reason, okay? And I think that part of the reason was we wanted to live a little bit out in the country and still be close enough to the suburbs and to the city. And I think that's why people love it here. That's why I think people want to move here. That's one of the reasons. The other reason, I think, is because we have a good school system and people feel safe out here. And so I feel that I want to try to keep, that's one of the main reasons I want to run for trustee, is I want to keep the reason we moved out here the same.
Now, some of the changes to that sameness has been the most recent in the papers, the fire merger with the city of Medina.
That's correct.
And I guess in terms of that, when you have issues like that come up, there's a lot of options. I just mentioned kind of the financial versus the community aspect, but then you're also dealing with another entity or entities, if you look at maybe advancing this to a fire district with townships and the city. How do you balance, as a trustee, the working relationship with all those parties?
Well, I'll tell you, I'm concerned, like everybody else, with this agreement. I really am. And it's a policeman's nature not only to be concerned, but skeptical. I just want to make sure that that the issues that were raised, as far as, and the promises that were made as far as better coverage and less money and more hours, are fulfilled. And I want to try to be the watchdog to make sure that these issues are followed and come up. And if they aren't, I want to be the first to raise the alarm and do something about it if it needs to be done. Make a decision to change it or to fix it, to rectify the situation.
Sure. And a lot of times that may boil down to, and kind of leads me to the next question, with such a small representation, 3 members on the trustees, how is the relationship, or how important do you feel is the relationship between the 3 trustees to come together on items that are being voted on, whether it's unanimous or 3-1, or sorry, 2-1,
Well,
and et cetera?
I believe each trustee probably has their own idea of how things should be. I think once a determination, though, has been made, once a vote is taken, I think all the trustees should get behind the vote and make it happen. I do believe, like, as far as the like cooperation, like collaboration with the different cities and stuff like that. I've seen the collaboration, what it can do down by the market. The collaboration between the city and the development corporation has made that whole area take off, rise. And I think if we have the same type of collaboration with the different cities around us, like the fire district, I think it makes, like I always say, rising tide lifts all ships. And I think that's what we need to look for in the future here.
And I think that's a great point. One of the sides of that is the business side for the township. You have the unique opportunity in the township that you actually kind of serve two different, I guess for lack of a better term, business districts. What do you think as far as a key role with businesses in the township?
Well, we're very lucky. We have actually two business really districts. We have Pearl Road, and we also have 18. And I think the idea of we have some empty shops or businesses on both quarters. I like to be able to get in there because I am a business person to help fill those stores. And I believe that if we work together, collaboratory with the city, I think we can fill those because I've seen what I can do, like I said, down at the market. I mean, I don't know if you've been there lately, but that whole Ohio City has taken off like crazy because of the collaboration between the city and the development corporation.
Sure. And I guess, too, as you look at all that from the business side, looking at whether it be road repair, fire levies, things of that nature, one of the bonus perks is also kind of a detriment for the township. You like that country feel, the wide open spaces, but that also leads sometimes to communication issues, being able to communicate with all your residents. What do you feel are the best ways maybe to reach residents or have them involved in the process?
Well, I personally like the idea of one-on-one. I'm better talking one-on-one with people, but in order to reach the people, I think community newsletter, or eventually, now in my generation, we weren't much into the computers, but that's the way of life it's coming to be. So I think we have to get more into the technology in order to reach the average citizen.
Now, if elected trustee, what would be some of your immediate goals that you would like to try to accomplish once in as trustee?
Well, I'll tell you, personally, I like to manage our growth and try to reduce our taxes. Because if we reduce our taxes, our tax base, not tax base, but if we reduce our taxes or keep our costs low for our taxes, especially like in administrative cost of running the township, you free up money that might be able to be used for the schools. Because what keeps our house values up is safety here and also our house values. And I'd like to try to work on that to lower our taxes and manage our growth.
And you have there's a large group of candidates running for the trustees positions.
That's correct.
What do you feel separates you apart from those other candidates?
I feel I'm the best candidate for the position because I have the experience of being a policeman, and which the experience of how government should respond to emergencies. And then I also have the experience of owning and running a business, of which I managed, like I said, managed budgets, made payroll. And I think the combination of those two gives me the advantage as far as helping run the township.
This is Jimmy Traynor, the candidate for Medina Township trustee, and I want to thank you for answering my questions, but now I'm going to give you a moment. If there's anything I may have forgotten to ask you or something you would like to tell the voters yourself, the floor is yours to take a moment and talk to the voters.
Well, first of all, I want to do this job. I think I can do the job well. I was very fortunate to be a policeman for 38 years, and I felt I did a good job there. I know I've done a good job with my business. I'm a proud owner of that business. I started with 5 employees. I have over 20 employees now. I think I can help the township grow responsibly so that we don't outpace our services. And because, right now there's 3 different kind of groups I look at that live here. The new kids that are just starting out, which are struggling to make payments and work and buy their house. We have the ones that have been around a while, the middle age that have kids in school and are trying to make college payments and stuff like that. And then you got the senior citizens who are on fixed incomes. And I don't want to lose any of them as residents. I want to try to keep them all here because I think I want to try to keep why we're here here. So that's why I'm trying to help out. That's what I think I'd like to try to do.
Great. Well, thank you for taking your time with us here today. Again, this is Jimmy Traynor, a candidate for Medina Township Trustee. Thank you for your years of service, and best of luck to you this November.
Thanks
Thank you.
again.